I'm Lila, and I thought I'd built a life where love was enough to bridge any gap. But one morning, while sipping coffee in our cozy Colorado kitchen, I learned the man I'd married had been lying to me in a way that cracked my world open. It wasn't a dramatic affair or a hidden bank account. It was worse. Owen, my husband, had told me he was heading to a simple family reunion in Denver, a weekend of golf and small talk. But when I saw him grab his phone like it was a live grenade, deleting a message before I could blink, I knew something was wrong. That moment, with the bitter taste of coffee lingering in my mouth, was the first thread unraveling a truth I wasn't ready to face. I grew up in a small Midwestern town where family meant shared meals, loud laughter, and no one left behind. When I met Owen at a Denver marketing conference, his charm swept me off my feet. Those brown eyes, that easy smile, the way he made me feel like I was the only person in the room. We built a life together, blending my small-town heart with his city polish. But his family, the Ramirezes, were different. Old Denver money with traditions as rigid as their perfectly pressed suits. For years, I'd brushed off their subtle slights. Conversations that stopped when I entered, holiday plans made without me, smiles that never reached their eyes. I told myself it was just their way, that Owen's love was enough. But that morning, as he set his phone face down and mumbled about a family thing, I felt a familiar ache in my chest, the kind that comes from being an outsider in your own marriage. "Everything okay?" I asked, spreading jam on my toast, my eyes on his tense shoulders. "Just Mom," he said too quickly. "Family's doing a little reunion in Denver this weekend. Nothing special. Nothing special." Those words hit me like a pebble in a shoe. The Ramirezes didn't do nothing special. They planned Easter brunch 6 months out, sent embossed invites for backyard barbecues. I swallowed hard. "Which part of Denver?" I pressed, keeping my voice light. "Oh, the usual spot. Like Dad's birthday last year." He turned to the coffee maker, his back a wall between us. "Just the old crowd. Golf, boring finance talk. You'd hate it." I remembered that birthday. His father had droned on about stock portfolios, while his mother judged the restaurant's wine list. His sister, Vanessa, had posted 16 photos of her dessert to Instagram. I'd smiled through it all, pretending I didn't feel like a guest at my own husband's family event. "Maybe I could come for a bit," I offered, testing the waters. "I don't mind the boring stuff if it means being with you." Owen turned, and for a split second, something flickered in his eyes. Panic, maybe guilt. It vanished so fast I doubted I'd seen it. "Lila, you'd be miserable," he said, kissing my forehead. "Mom's already whining about the weather. Dad's got his golf clubs out. And, Vanessa after a few drinks. Besides, didn't Sophie mention a ski trip?" He was right. Sophie, my coworker, had been begging me to hit the slopes in Breckenridge with her and Tara. I'd hesitated, not wanting to leave Owen alone, but his words felt like a gentle push out the door. "I guess I could call her," I said, staring at his empty coffee mug. Something felt off, like a chord played just out of tune. Maybe it was how fast he'd grabbed his phone. Maybe it was how neatly he'd redirected me to my friends. Or maybe it was the quiet voice in my head, whispering that after years of marriage, I was still Owen's wife to his family, never quite Lila Ramirez. That evening, as we chopped vegetables for dinner, I tried to shake the unease clinging to me like damp snow. Owen diced carrots with surgical precision, avoiding my eyes. "So, Breckenridge with Sophie and Tara?" he asked, his voice too casual. "Sounds fun." I nodded, brushing marinade onto chicken, our usual routine feeling hollow. "Yeah, they're excited about the snow. When do you leave for Denver?" "Friday after work," he said, scraping carrots into the pan. "Back Sunday night. Just family stuff. Nothing exciting." His words were smooth, practiced, but they didn't land right. "Tell your family I said hi," I said, watching his face. He mumbled, "Sure." But his eyes stayed on the stove, like the carrots held all the answers. That night, I lay awake next to him, his steady breathing a lie of its own. His shoulders were tense, even in sleep, and I wondered what he wasn't saying. I'd spent years trying to fit into his world, smiling at his mother's critiques, laughing at his father's dry jokes, pretending Vanessa's snide comments didn't sting. I told myself it was just their dynamic, that close-knit families could feel exclusive without meaning to. But the truth was sharper. I'd been knocking on a door that was never meant to open. The Ramirezes had their traditions. Ski trips I wasn't invited to, group chats I wasn't in, stories they told when I wasn't around. Owen always said they'd come around. But lying there, I wondered if he'd ever really believed that. The next morning, Owen was gone before I woke, leaving a note. Early meeting. Have fun skiing. Love you. The words felt flat, like a signature on a form. I packed my ski gear, trying to drown out the doubts. Before I left, I slipped a note into Owen's suitcase, a small heart with "Missing you" scrawled in my neat handwriting. It was silly, but it felt like a tether, a reminder of us. Looking back, I see how desperate that gesture was, how much I wanted to believe we were still a team. Breckenridge was alive with the hum of winter. Pine-scented air, the crackle of a lodge fireplace, skiers laughing as they trudged through snow. Sophie and Tara had claimed a table by the window, their energy pulling me in. "Lila, you're going to love this," Sophie said, her eyes bright. "The snow's perfect." For the first time in days, I felt a spark of excitement. We booked a cozy lodge, nothing fancy, just warm wood walls and hot cocoa that tasted like childhood. That first day, we tore down the slopes, the wind biting my cheeks, the world blurring into white. For a few hours, I forgot the ache in my chest, the nagging sense that something was wrong. But doubt has a way of creeping back. Sitting by the fire that evening, I scrolled through Instagram, my thumb pausing over a notification from Owen's Aunt Linda. Her profile showed her in a glittering dress, a chandelier sparkling behind her. The caption read, "Celebrating Caleb's engagement. So proud." My heart stopped. Caleb, Owen's younger brother, engaged. I tapped the photo, and the truth hit like an avalanche. It wasn't a reunion. It was a lavish party in Denver. White linens, floral centerpieces, a dance floor glowing under soft lights. There was Owen's mother in a dress I'd helped her choose, raising a champagne glass. And there, in a corner, was Owen in a tuxedo I'd never seen, his arm around Caleb, both of them beaming. My husband at an engagement party I knew nothing about. An engagement party I wasn't invited to. The lodge's warmth couldn't touch the cold spreading through me. I zoomed in on the photo, my hands trembling. Owen's smile was wide, unguarded, the kind I hadn't seen in months. His sister Vanessa had posted a carousel of images, her in a sleek dress, Caleb proposing to Rachel, the family cheering. Owen was giving a speech, his hand raised in a toast, while I was here, 90 miles away, thinking he was golfing with his dad. Every image was a stab, proof of a celebration I'd been erased from. I called Owen, my thumbs shaking as it hit his name. Voicemail after 3 rings. I tried again. Voicemail. Then a text. Can't talk. 2 words, like I was an annoyance, not his wife. You okay? Tara asked, her eyes narrowing. I couldn't speak, couldn't explain the betrayal clawing at my chest. I stumbled to the bathroom, gripping the sink, staring at my reflection. My cheeks were still flushed from skiing, but my eyes were hollow, like someone had carved out the part of me that trusted. Was I invisible to him? To them? 5 years of marriage, and I was still the outsider, the wife who didn't fit the Ramirez vibe. Tears came, not loud or dramatic, but quiet, like something inside me was leaking out. I thought of the note I'd tucked into his bag, the heart I'd drawn while he planned to lie. Back at the table, Sophie and Tara were watching me, their phones forgotten. I need to ski, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, until I can't think anymore. We hit the slopes again, the cold biting harder now, the speed a temporary escape. But every time I paused, the images flashed. Owen's tuxedo, his mother's champagne, the family's laughter without me. That night, I couldn't sleep, the betrayal replaying like a loop. By morning, Sophie dragged me to the summit, her optimism a lifeline. Look at this view, she said, pointing to the endless peaks. The sun glittered on the snow, and for a moment, I felt alive, unburdened. "Take my picture," I told her, standing against the mountains. She positioned me, the sunlight catching my hair, my face turned to the sky. When she showed me the photo, I barely recognized myself, peaceful, strong, like the woman I'd forgotten I could be. I opened Instagram, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. I typed, "The mountains don't care who you are. They just let you be." I hit post, my heart pounding. It wasn't just a photo. It was a declaration. Within minutes, likes poured in, friends, coworkers, strangers. Then a DM from Vanessa. "What's your deal?"
My phone rang.
Owen's mother. I let it go to voicemail. Another text from Owen. "You're embarrassing me." I laughed, sharp and bitter. Embarrassing him. He lied to my face, and I was the problem. The notifications kept coming. My cousin Maya, who lived in Denver, reshared the post with a fire emoji. The comments stacked up. "You okay, Lila? Keep shining, girl." Then Sophie showed me a video from the party, tagged to me. Owen was being pulled aside by his father, his face tight, muffled words. "Your wife, inappropriate family matters." My caption had reached them, a tiny snowball rolling into their perfect night. I added a location tag, Breckenridge Summit, where the air is honest. The post exploded, shared by people I didn't even know. For the first time, I didn't feel invisible. I felt seen. Driving back to our Denver suburb, the mountain's clarity faded with every mile. My phone buzzed relentlessly, more comments, more DMs, more missed calls from Owen's family. Sophie and Tara offered to come with me, but this was my fight. I pulled into our driveway early, surprised to see Owen's car already there. The house looked the same, my potted plants, our wind chimes, but it felt like a stranger's home. I unlocked the door, my ski bag heavy in my hand. Owen stood in the kitchen, still in dress pants, his hair too perfect for a casual weekend. His arms were crossed, his jaw tight, like he'd been waiting to ambush me. "You made everything worse," he said before I could set my bag down. The words hit like a slap. No apology, just blame. "Worse than what?" I asked, my voice low, deliberate. "Worse than lying about Caleb's engagement? Worse than excluding me from your family? Worse than letting me find out through Instagram?" He ran a hand through his hair, messing up that perfect style. "You don't get how complicated this is." "Then explain it," I said, leaning against the doorframe, exhaustion settling in. "Why didn't you want me there?" He looked away, his silence louder than any words. "Mom thought you wouldn't fit the vibe," he mumbled finally. "She wanted it perfect for Caleb." The truth cut deeper than I'd expected. "The vibe," I repeated, laughing without humor. "The vibe where your wife exists?" "That's not fair," he said, but his voice was weak. "Fair?" I stepped closer, my anger rising. "Was it fair to let me pack your suitcase with a love note while you knew I wasn't invited? Was it fair to lie so I'd stay out of the way?" His face paled. "You went through my stuff." "I didn't go through anything," I snapped. "I left a note because I thought you'd miss me. Guess I was wrong." "Did you fight for me, Owen?" I asked, my voice breaking. "When your mother said I wasn't welcome, did you tell her that was unacceptable?" He opened his mouth, then closed it, his eyes on the floor. That silence was my answer. I walked past him up the stairs, the house feeling like a stage set for a life that wasn't mine anymore. In our bedroom, I pulled my old suitcase from the closet, packing only what was mine. Clothes, books, my grandmother's necklace. Owen stood in the doorway, watching. "I saw your note," he said quietly. "I kept it with me all weekend." I found it on his nightstand, crumpled, the heart I'd drawn mocking me. I placed it on his pillow, not a gesture of love this time, but a goodbye. I called Tara. "I need your couch," I said. "I'm there," she replied. When her car pulled up, I walked out with my suitcase. Owen sitting on the stairs, head in his hands. "I didn't mean for this," he said. "I know," I answered. "But you didn't mean for me to find out either." I closed the door behind me, the sound final, like the end of a chapter one hadn't realized I'd outgrown. Tara's Denver apartment became my sanctuary, filled with plants and sunlight, a stark contrast to the sterile quiet of the home I'd left. 3 days in, my phone buzzed with a notification that stopped me cold. Maya had reshared my post. Some truths cut deeper than lies. Proud of you, Lila. The photo was spreading, liked and shared by strangers, co-workers, even people in Owen's circles. Comments piled up. You're stronger than they know. The mountains got your back. Then a call came from an unknown number. Lila Ramirez, this is Hannah from Peak Pulse Marketing. Your story is making waves, and we've had clients asking about you. Interested in freelance work? I nearly dropped my coffee. My post was shaking Owen's world. His firm lost a client over character concerns and opening doors for me. By the weekend, messages flooded my DMs. Women I'd never met shared their stories. My in-laws excluded me for years. Your post gave me courage. One hit close to home, from Owen's cousin Claire. I'm sorry I didn't speak up. Aunt Margaret planned it to keep you out. Owen didn't fight it. That truth hurt, but it also freed me. I started yoga with Tara, finding peace in the stretch of my limbs. I took my niece to the zoo, her giggles healing something I didn't know was broken. Life without Owen wasn't empty. It was full, vibrant mine. Weeks later, I drove back to Breckenridge alone. The lodge's familiar pine scent greeted me, but this time, I wasn't running from pain. I took the lift to the summit, the peaks stretching endlessly before me. Standing there, I whispered, I release you. To Owen, to his family, to the weight I'd carried. Not for them, but for me. The sun warmed my face, the air filled my lungs, and I knew I was enough. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've skied these slopes with me, felt the sting of betrayal, and cheered for every step toward freedom. If Lila's story stirred your heart, hit subscribe and join us at Warth Stories, where every mountain tells a story of courage, truth, and new beginnings. Keep climbing your own peaks, and I'll see you at the summit.